What's shaking, guys? My name is Luke Dancy, and as you can see, I am joined by the one and only Jay Sankey. How are you, sir?
I am blessed. I'm fortunate. I'm lucky. Whatever synonyms, grab your thesaurus. That's me.
Well, I don't have a thesaurus, but I do have something in my hands you might recognize. It's an old book called When Creators Collide.
Oh no, dude. You sort of a bit of a flashback there. I didn't know you. That's awesome that you have that old book here, man. Thank you.
Yes. The early days of you and Richard Sanders and David. I have, of course, just like a lot of people here, I've been studying your work for years and years and years.
Looking deeply for something of value. There must be something there. Certainly, Jay goes on and on and on, implying there's some sort of quality buried within the pages of this or that.
I also had a chance more recently, as of this year, actually. I didn't get to speak with you for actually, I don't think I got to see you at all at Blackpool, but I did get to see your lecture.
And that was just before, of course, the whole, or maybe about, about a month before the whole COVID thing changed everything. That's right. That was my last big lecture appearance before then.
Yeah, man. This is me towards the front of the group, and I do want you guys to realize that Blackpool, Jay, I think, had about 1,000 people in that room, if not more, packed. It was all the way from the front to the back and on the sides. It was crazy. So yes,
it's an amazing convention. Definitely everybody should go once. I find that British magicians take magic very seriously and have a lot of history there, and that's awesome. I went over years ago, and I think I'm one of the people they book the most, mostly because of bribe money, British pounds. No, because my gab. I find the British culture really enjoy someone who plays with words, and because I love language and I'm a bit of I think they once called me what is it? He's a chappy Charlie or something, some phrase. Anyways, because of that, I've been over there a bunch of times and I love it, and they always take great care of me over at the Blackpool convention. It's amazing. It's an amazing convention.
Yes, it is, and seeing the number of people packed in for your lecture was pretty amazing in itself. I just want to say that. I know that we are doing this in the middle of the day where a lot of people are. So we actually have people like Criss. He's watching from work, so don't tell anybody. But he's watching from work, so that's fun.
He's trying to cram in a little. Jay, if you're gonna drop a pun that bad, at least get your lines right. Sorry.
Got to get it in. If you guys have any questions,
get it in.
You got to get it in. And if you guys
thanks,
do
Chris.
have questions for
Thanks
Jay,
for watching.
Drop them. Drop those questions in.
Oh yeah, like hey Jay, what's your gender? Hey Jay, why you on this show with Luke? Luke's a good guy. Why you on with him? Right, I get it.
Actually, my first question for you is something that's pretty basic, but I don't even know the answer to this. How the heck did you even get interested in this crazy world of magic and comedy? Because I know you do a lot of comedy too.
Yeah. I got into magic. I did magic for many years before I really got into stand-up comedy. Then I was in stand-up comedy for about 7 or 8 years. I was very bad for a long time, and then I got better. And eventually, I got to a place. I was so lucky. I put in so much time. I got to a place where I could do 45 minutes to an hour with just a mic and me. No magic, nothing, and just jokes and this kind of thing, and interact with the audience. And after stand-up, my magic shifted. I really opened up because before then I was a more traditional magician. As for how did I get into magic in the first place, like a lot of people, a black van pulled up in front of my house. No, like a lot of people. I'm kidding. It was orange. Like a lot of people. I got a magic set. My grandmother, who had just come back from Europe, brought back a Hocus Pocus magic set. I was excited. I cracked it open. I was around 11. And the instruction booklet was in German. No joke.
Wow.
So I looked at all these wacky props, and being a weird kid on the farm, I took the instruction booklet, cut out a space enough to hide but little money, a couple of bills, because I used to iron my money and put it in serial number order. I know it's tragic, but I had some issues. Anyway, I'd keep it in there. I'd keep it in the book there. And then I just started messing around with the props based on some of the illustrations in the book. And so I kind of had to create some kind of weird magic going on from the very beginning, sort of asked me to kind of figure out something to do with this crazy stuff.
Fun. Here's a question, a little follow-up from Alexander over on our YouTube channel. He says, why are you doing magic? Is there one specific reason or different reasons why you continue to do this stuff?
Wow. It's a great question. Thank you, Rebecca. I would say Rebecca. Magic. Well, first, it's what I know. I used to think years ago I did magic. magic actually does me. I mean, magic's become this, not this thing I do, but literally my way from womb to tomb. If I have to look back at all the things I did, I'm fiercely proud of being a father. I'm crazy lucky to be a husband and all these things. But magic's really defined me. So I'd say I keep doing it because it's what I know and it's what I feel free. You know, I really feel like a bird free in the sky there because I've been doing it for so long. I also find magic really, I mean, I'm fascinated with the weird, the surreal, the unexpected, the surprising. And you can do that in many ways. Stand-up comedy, you can do it. You can do it in break and entry. You can do it in a lot of different ways. But magic is socially sanctioned, just. So that's why.
Very cool. Very cool. We got some other people as well watching here. As always, Michael Chatelain is here. One of the brilliant French magicians says that he loves this guy, talking about you, and you are one of the best magic creators around. Period.
Merci beaucoup. C'est très, très gentil, Michel. Merci.
Yes, yes. I don't speak much French, but I caught a little of that.
Well, that actually wasn't even French.
Oh, okay.
No, it was. So that's very kind of him to say. Yeah, I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I think you do something for a long time, and hopefully you bring something of value to the table, as much as you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And here's a question to go along with some of this stuff too. And you guys keep the good questions coming. So many already coming out. Buddy Luis says, how did you create your tricks? Why don't we get basic here? Creativity is a topic you're very passionate about. You're definitely someone that fosters that, continues to flex the creative muscle. When it comes to creating magic tricks, though, do you have some generic advice that maybe you could share with people here?
No, I just grabbed this glue stick. I'm not about to show you a trick, but while people are asking, one thing I do is I try to, there's a great, this Searching for Bobby Fischer, I think it's an old movie, and the guy talks about playing chess. Yep. And they're staring at the pieces, and there's a dramatic scene where they knock away the pieces off the board, and the idea is to still be able to stare and see the pieces. And that's sort of what I do. I'll take a piece like a glue stick, and I'll really look at its properties, really think, okay, it's sticky, it's tube shape, it's got this little cap. What can I do with this? Make it vanish, reappear here. Wouldn't it be weird if I could have them change places? Maybe I can stretch this so it's the same size as this. And you just start thinking about, so I got Fitzky on the brain, so transpositions, levitations, transformations, penetrations, for all that kind of stuff. So I really think one of the keys to my approach is I gave my mind permission many years ago to just run at things and turn them around ceaselessly. I also have a confidence that any effect I think of, any effect, change this into an elephant ear and what happens on the moon or whatever. Any effect I can think of, I can come up with a way to create it for a human being to experience that. That kind of confidence, that certainty really frees up me to really jump into something. Something else I also do as well, one last little thing I'd suggest is, you got to be careful about spending too much time on Instagram or YouTube or any of these things watching other people's stuff constantly. When we were growing up, Luke and I, and I can't think of Rapunzel. Let's throw back. Rasputin's a better name. Rasputin were growing up back in the 1400s. We didn't have this stuff coming at us 24/7. Yeah. And I think that leaves a little bit more breathing room to develop your own little creative pattern early on. So those are a few thoughts from Jack Avis about creating magic.
Oh man, I knew this was going to be fun. I've been looking forward to this, man.
It's going to start really soon. The fun part.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm just enjoying when creators collide as you chat. I'm listening and I'm learning.
It is crazy.
So fun. Speaking of older stuff, there he is. Speaking of older stuff, how about these guys, Jay Sankey? Oh my gosh!
Oh, wow, look at that! And people always say, people always say, "Oh, there's Jay with hair." I don't even know what to do with that. Anyway, but I still have plenty of hair, just not on my head. Plenty bushels. I believe the farmer. The boy's got bushels. Those are old books. And there's a lot of stuff in there I still perform very regularly. I like a simple trick. I like a simple trick, a direct effect, and something I can then kind of really play with. I'm not really big. I mean, I've created a bunch of more involved, complicated things over the years. But, it's a night before a gig, and I'm getting the stuff out in the bed, warming it up, getting ready, and it's often the simple stuff.
Nice. Very cool. We've got Ryan here saying, I've laughed out loud so much already. I freaking love Jay. Yeah, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming for sure.
Oh, that's very kind. Thanks, man. It's again, mostly cries for help. You can see that much. I know that.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Scissors, paper. Uh-oh. The devil won again. Anyway. It's so biz.
Okay. I know you were just chatting about you like the more simplistic, just stuff that just packs a punch. But Dave would like to know, is there any particular type of trick that you enjoy the most? I know you said simplistic, but do you have is it like organic magic with a particular object? Do you like a certain style of magic?
I grew up with the cards and the coins. Magic. You really, at the end of it all, you're trying to find things that help you access your genius. Mm-hmm. We all have a kind of genius. We all have a unique perspective. Most of us can be funny with our pals, but then we get in front of an audience and it's we're trying to find tricks that help us relax and give us the confidence, give us a frame to then release the genius. And, for me, when I pick up a deck of cards, I feel comfortable. Bruce Lee, I think he said something like, that check is not what I asked for. He also said once, and I do mean Bruce Lee, the karate martial arts guy. I don't mean Bruce Lee, the one-eyed racing car driver. The two are often confused. He said you can't possibly get to your speed or your accuracy unless you're relaxed. So I like cards. They relax me. I like coins. I actually started with coin magic, which, as we all know, can be a little trickier in some regards. And those props, those mediums of my expression and ways to connect with people, they relax me. And so I can try to access the best that I have to offer in the moment, try to be charming, try to be welcoming, try to be witty, try to trust myself to just think it and say it, And because a funny line in a moment is a lot like an appearing bouquet. It came out of nowhere. People are surprised. They wonder where did it come from. They're wondering, when are the police showing up?
Oh, man. And he's done it with a deadpan look on his face. Either that or you're frozen. But I think you're just, yeah, he's still here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
One question that did come in, and I'm actually curious to this too. What is your magic method for looking so young? Willie would like to know that.
Dude, I'll tell you. Here's advice for everyone out there. Here's what you do. I don't care if you're 15 or 35. Right now, after this, don't. If you leave too soon, Luke curls up under that ball and cries. Okay, so don't do that. But right after this, what I want you to do is go get a razor blade, shave your head. Okay, whatever your age is. Okay, shave your head, get some old man glasses, and try to look as old and elderly early in your life as possible. Own that 45-year-old man brand, even when you're 19. And then as life goes on, people go, the guy never ages, because you got one ahead on the whole thing early on.
Smart. Very smart.
Smart. So that's what I did. I did. Now, the other reason, too, is if I do look – first, you got to love it. When people start telling you you look really good for your age, that's when you know you're old as dirt. So number one, thank you so much for all the compliments. They are backhanded as hell, number one. Number two is I'm a happy person. I sleep like a log. I go to bed every night and I go, look, you gave it your best shot. Let it go. You got another shot tomorrow. So I sleep well. I'm happy. I drink lots of water. And I do actually – I'm going to admit it. I do actually use some relatively fancy face creams for many years. I do, because I'm convinced that my face is key to providing for my family in whatever arenas I am in. So I'm trying my best here to provide for my family. Those are some honest answers from Jay Sankey.
There you go. You're getting the truth right here. There he is. Speaking of, having your face, being who you are, making a living off of who you are, I will say that one of your alter egos, someone's loving Boris Poker a little bit. Oh, Boris Pocus. Boris Pocus. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Thanks. Boris is someone many years ago I tried to tap into this man. He's so arrogant and he's so condescending. The very fact that he shows up and will look you in the eyes is something that Boris thinks he's gifting you. You're very privileged, because ultimately he understands when he looks at people, he just wants everyone to be reduced to oatmeal and captured in small leather bags. So Boris is a nut job. He's an egomaniac, and I get a kick. But there's one frustrating thing about the Boris Pocus project, the Extreme Mental Project, is when I first released it, so many people saw the comedy and the comedy of it, or the over the top silliness of it, that the quality of the mentalism actually got buried. And luckily, it took a while for people to realize there's actually a bunch of really good mentalism tricks on the project, even though Boris is totally crazy.
Yeah, if you guys don't know who we're talking about, you should definitely watch the trailer for that. And yeah, it's something else.
It's a bit nuts.
So speaking of other projects that you've done, we're not here to talk about projects at all or products, but I think it's fun to show more of some of the early Sankey here. This is from the very best of Sankey series. It's just fun to go back in time a little bit.
Back in time, nice.
Yeah, man, because that's obviously one of everyone's favorite versions of Triumph is Back in Time from Jay Sankey. Yes, you saw what I did there. You're with me. Yeah.
I'm with you, and I love the fact that here's Jay, which every now and then you get a flash. He's actually wearing shorts. It's a fancy studio. He's wearing shorts, and I'm yabbering like a chipmunk. And this is for that great audience, the old L&L audience. That everybody remembers. And there's a guy in the front row, famous. There he is with the V-neck sweater. Super nice, super sweet. I could drop a thumb tip out of my eye and he'd freak out and call me a genius. So it's very supportive, which is what you want in a studio taping. You really want people who you get a sense of, okay, these people like me. It's very helpful.
Do you happen to know, I believe someone said that they rounded up a few of these people to come to Magic Live one year. Do you know if these people are still... Do any of them do magic? Do you know anything about the people from? Because they were very famous. All these. They
were very famous. First, I'm pretty sure 41% of them are puppets. It's very early Henson work. And again, I think half the audience has their hands up, the other half of the audience's butts. Hence the joy and I think the anxiety that was on set a fair bit.
God. Oh man, I don't know about you guys. This is fun. This is so fun, and we're like.
You sound like Charles Manson. I don't know about you guys, but this is fun on fun.
God. And if you guys want more of this kind of stuff, I'm gonna segue like a mofo here. If you want more of this kind of stuff, every single week we do go live. So all you need to do is say the word live in the comments, and every time we go live, you will know about it. It's that easy. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, and I got to say, I've done a bunch of podcasts and a bunch of hanging out with people, and I was looking forward to this for weeks because I knew Mr. Dancy gets the job done. He's sweet. He puts the focus on the other guy. He asks good questions. So he won't be able to hear us, but he can hear me. Round of applause for Mr. Dancy fighting the good fight. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. I still remember one of the first times we met and how I was immediately struck by what a sweet, smart guy. So unlike so many magicians, including me, where he never talks about himself or pulls focus on himself. So it's a real privilege to be here with you today, buddy.
I appreciate you, sir. And I'm going to tell a real quick story. That there was one time where I was ill. I was quite ill. And I was laid up in a hospital, and out of the blue, one day, I got a phone call in the hospital from Mr. Jay Sankey. I don't even know if you remember that or not, but
I do, buddy.
Yeah, that meant a lot.
Word got around that you were, and we were people were concerned, so I wanted to give you a shout. That's all.
That's just the kind of guy that he is. I wanted to share that real quick, guys.
That's kind.
It's true. It's very true.
It's actually the only time I ever did anything nice for anybody. So I'm so glad we're talking about it today. I was counting on it.
Fair enough. All right, then. We're talking about Daniel Ricks is talking about David Copperfield. Fell in love with it, too. We're talking about, of course, you did some consulting for Copperfield. In particular, Airtight was performed on international TV. How the hell was that like working with like the GOAT, like the man of?
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. Working with I'm I don't know. I was 17 or 18, whatever. I get a phone call, pick up the phone because back in the day that you had to do this is a phone, okay? This is not some Russian person swearing at the soccer match. This is what a phone used to be, okay? Get a phone call. Yeah. And I go to the nose thing. This is how retro. Please hold for David Copperfield. And I thought, what? Come on, please hold for David Copperfield. What is going on? And so I hold, waiting for my friends or something, and then boom, David Copperfield on the phone. I'm freaking out. Anyway, so he was super gracious and wanted to ask a few questions about Airtight. So we talked for about half an hour. He wanted some handling points, and they were going to fly me in, but instead of flying me in, they flew in Chevy Chase. So I don't know how that worked out. But no, it's a great phone call with him, and I felt really honored. And another.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Jay?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, cool.
Sorry. Yeah, anyway, it was definitely a foot up for me and helped bring some attention to my work in the magic community. And for that, David Copperfield, Richard Kaufman, there are a bunch of people who really I'll always be in their debt because they really helped me sort of get my name more on the map.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to have a chance to win some Jay Sankey stuff right now, we've got one of his At the Table lectures up for grabs. It's the download, so it's a download. So if you guys want to have a chance to win the At the Table lecture from him, because we know people are still stuck at home, all you need to do is just drop a like and the comments. That way I can go through the list of people, and I'll pick one out, and I'll announce it later today. So it's that easy. A little freebie from us to you. All right. Let's see here. Looking through some more questions. Of course, we got a lot of fans of yours. What was the first trick you ever created? That was a question that came up just a few minutes ago.
That's so funny. Okay, do I have here? I'm not going to bother to grab it, but if you get a quarter or a coin, a quarter or $50, and if you put it in your hand, if you cup your hand a little bit, just a little cup, and you put the coin, push it in like a classic palm, grab a second coin and you tap it. It sounds like it's a hollow coin. It's got this weird hollow sound to it. And I remember messing around. I don't know. I was 12 or 13 or whatever. Messing around, working on classic palming coin. Tapped and I realized, hollow coin. And so I came up with this idea that maybe you could like introduce a coin, pretend it's hollow, put it on the table, introduce another one, tap it flat on your hand. It doesn't sound hollow. And then with a wave of your hand and just a little bit of poo in your pants, you make the two. People never forget. They never remember. They never want to forget. They never want to remember. People never want to remember that. I worked it out. I did my math. Modus tollens. If A equals B. Anyway, so it was a transposition, an audio transposition with two ordinary coins, and I think a bag of weed or something. I don't know what the deal was then. But anyway, ta-da! And that's a true story. That is a true story. I didn't just rip the hollow coin thing. That's some weird thing I did come up with very early on.
All righty then. People were asking about all sorts of things. That was one of them. Do you have any, when it comes to creativity, maybe it's within magic or maybe it's out, do you have any influences? Rick Robison's asking that over here on the old Facebook.
Creativity, influences. Well, one thing that's meant a lot to me more recently, and I mentioned this before, and I actually I will plug one thing. I've got a new Instagram channel called Sankey Says. Check it out, Sankey Says. It's on Instagram, hence why I call it an Instagram channel. And the thing about the channel is it focuses on psychology, creativity, communication. It's a real mixed bag of stuff. So one of the things I talk about on that channel is giving ourselves permission. And it's a real kind of important thing. We have so much we can access, but so often we hold ourselves back with judgment and fear and comparison and all that crap. Having said all that, one of the things, Calvin and Hobbes, Bill Watterson, I believe it is, he once said in an interview, he said, there's a painful paradox in human nature, and that is that we often think we assume that we can't just share something from our real world directly. If I have, turnstiles drive me crazy. When I get inside a turnstile, I feel paranoid for a second. You might have a thought like that, and you might want to work it into a magic presentation or whatever, but you'll hesitate because you'll think it's too personal. It's too inside. It's too just me. And as Bill Watterson pointed out, the ironic thing is that stuff that is so personal, that's so inside, that only we would get, tends to be the stuff that has the broadest appeal, the broadest understanding. So that paradox has really inspired me, so that when I hesitate, so I'm really just trying to get to the most authentic, real me I can, A, because that's all I have, and B, because I know that's often the most powerful stuff I have, is to try to get to that stuff. So that's something that really influences me in creative when I'm trying to create and give myself permission to. It's just, this is my stuff. I don't try not to get caught up in comparison, and that really helps me create freely.
All righty, very good. I know everyone's different, so it's always good to hear different perspectives and different ways of looking at creativity and how to foster that and stuff, because you are definitely on the map. If I'm not mistaken, in your ad copy for your website, it says you've created more magic than any other magician. Like, and that's just crazy. Like on the marketplace or wherever, you've done. I mean, that's just wild, dude. You've been doing this for so long. It's crazy.
It is a long time. When that comes up, I mean, at last count, people go, what do you mean? And, I'll say, well, really good magicians I respect, they'll maybe have 10 or 15 or 25 kinds of things, 30. I'm like over 1,500. Wow. But I say that right now, and I want you to look right here, nobody understands the myth of quantity better than I do. Nobody understands that quantity is not a measure of anything but quantity. I've got some great tricks. I've got some so-so tricks. I've got some limping. Oh my God, why did you ever share that? Tricks. I've got all that stuff, and I know it. I'm the last guy who thinks of myself as any kind of God's gift to magic, or boy, oh boy, if you're not doing my version of the upside down retention vanish, you know where. That's not me.
Yeah, I mean, this question kind of goes along with what you're saying with some of this stuff when it comes to creativity and looking at things and turning it on and turning it off too, because we're kind of in the creativity department right now. Criss Dunn wants to know, do you turn it off and on, or are you on all the time? Because as an entertainer,
Yeah, that's a great question. People tell us, just be yourself. That's horrible advice. There's a whole bunch of sides of myself that are not entertaining. They're not charming or funny. They aren't likable. I'm just like everybody else in that regard. So don't be yourself, folks. Do not be yourselves. What you do is take one slice of who you are, something real and authentic, 1 or 2 slices, and magnify those when you're performing. Instead of the whole pie, take 1 or 2 pieces and expand those till they're the full pie. Leave the other stuff at home, and you got to figure out what that stuff is. I'm definitely not on all the time. Ask my wife, ask my kids. No. Now, I'm lucky because I don't really have – a lot of performers are a little manic, or, to the degree to which he's up, I bet he's down. That's not me. I wake up pretty chipper, get some stuff done, go to sleep. I'm lucky that way, very balanced. But I'm definitely not always on. When I do these kinds of things, though, when I know there's some fans inspire me. I want to try to bring my most entertaining self, but always trying to stay authentic for sure.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I mean, people can smell that a mile away when you're not being authentic.
Yeah, but we all get intellectually. I got to be authentic, but. Yeah. It takes years to give yourself permission. You also need a lot of positive affirmation. I mean, I've gone on record before saying this. Most of my fans watching right now, any one of you, if you had been given this much love and this much support from the worldwide magic community for this long, you too would have, achieved a thing or two and made some sort of success of your life like I have. So I really, I know that everything I have, everything is gift. And people go, well, but you worked real hard for what you've been given. And I say, I don't feel like that. Even the working hard ethic is a gift. Everything. So I'm just trying to be a grateful recipient. And, a great line by Chesterton, I cite it all the time. Angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. So I'm the last guy to get too caught up with the word achievements.
Wise words. I like that. The angels can fly. What was it again?
Angels can fly because they take themselves lightly.
Smart.
Yeah, it's nice. And it reminds me of Chaplin's line. We're all amateurs. None of us live long enough to be anything else.
Hell yes.
Charles Chaplin. Great stuff.
Some love on that one. I've got a few more questions for you, and then I'm going to let you get out of here, because I know I did tell you before we would try to keep this 30, 45 minutes.
I appreciate, buddy. It's all good. I've got a copter waiting filled with bite cards and a really drunk clown, so I've got to go. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, man. Oh, that's wow. Actually, this is a good question to go along with what's going on in the world right now. Ryan is asking.
Yeah, I bet he is.
Of course, a lot of us are.
I want Ryan just to shut up for a second, because I know there's no pressure. Usually there's no pressure here, but I'm going to bend this spoon with the power of my mind. Here we go. Hi, boy. Hi, he's gone Geller. Jay's gone deep into Geller. Just as we snap my fingers. I know this is not going to deceive many people, but I thought I would at least show a little something to my fans there. Little bent spoon there like that. And everybody, not only do I want you to watch closely, but I want you to not listen as I cover the camera and drop the thumb tip on the floor. Thank you.
Oh, man. A little bonus. People were asking in the chat, will he do some magic?
Bet. Little bonus.
You just answered the question, so there we go. All right. Thank you for doing that. That's fun.
Oh, dude. We're all trying to find stuff that's going to work on the socials, the Zoom. I'd be lying if I told you, I did 1,000 Zoom shows last week, but I've been lucky because I got some very old, long-time clients, some corporate, some private, and only in the last couple of weeks have they sort of reached out and said, we're doing something here, we're doing something there. Can you do a bit of magic? So I've been having a lot of fun by doing more mentalism than magic, but definitely I've had a chance to be setting up some nice lights in the living room and do some Zoom shows, and it's been a blast. So, and that's one of those. The old, this is a great opening trick I do for a few reasons. But anyway, I think had another question or two, my brother.
Yeah, I was going to actually say about what you just did at Blackpool, if I'm not mistaken, during your lecture. You did a version of this, and then you also did another version of it, which I think is absolutely brilliant, where you do the signature transposition.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. That's right, using the bill switch as signature. And again, I use the pouch, a coin pouch, the tip, a sign, and the whole thing heads in by, what I like about it more and more as I get older. And I'm not going to go on and on, but just this whole notion of, okay, guys, somebody's going to get a prize. I know you were thinking that. You're thinking, where's the prizes? I mean, it's magic's all well and good. He made that hippopotamus float, but do I get something for free or not? The answer is yes. I got you guys covered. Going to give away, but I don't want to start stampede. I don't want everyone rushing to the stage here, and then I take out the, it's a Jay Sankey autograph. You guys were afraid to ask for one on eBay. This is probably worth 6 or 7 cents. So I kind of like to use it to diffuse the magician with the ego thing. And yeah, it's a transposition with they sign a piece of paper, I got a piece of paper, 2 different color markers, and I use a coin purse, so I got something to hold on to, and for the pocket manager with the thumb tip, because I want to get to that place when I'm sliding into this that not until you can totally forget about the trick, the technique, the words even, not until you can forget about it can you really start to perform it. Because a trick is just a dead thing, and you got to bring something of the moment and fill it up like air in a balloon. So I was going to make a farting sound there. Then I decided to instead not, and now I zigged my own zag.
Did you just say you zig your own zag? Is that what you said?
I do, and I was doing that not only since before I was married, but even now that I'm married every Friday night. You guys know, you married men, you get me.
Oh my God. Well, I tell you what, let's keep the laughs going. I don't know if you're going to be willing to share.
Okay, then I should go. I'll get out of here. You guys, what were you saying, buddy? Sorry.
I was just going to say, if we're laughing right now, let's keep the laughs going. I don't know if you're going to share anything here, because this could be some stuff that you maybe keep to yourself. But William Cummings has asked this a couple times. Mr. Sankey, do you have any one-liners for hecklers? Do you have anything for the hecklers?
Hecklers. Okay, let's see. Do I remember this one? First, a little side note, because Jay has to crap a bit of philosophy on everything. Very impressive, Jay. Yes, you went to school. Could you do something interesting, please? And that is hecklers. Hecklers are made. 95% of hecklers are made by the performer. The heckler picks up the attitude, the fact that you're not giving the audience any power, any of these things, ego. You didn't give this person who wants a little bit of attention, you refuse to share any of it. So you learn, like I've had in the last 15, 20 years, I've had a fraction of the hecklers I used to get as a younger guy. So that's as a side note. Heckler lines. It's been so long, but in stand-up, someone heckles me. Let's say they go with original heckler. Hey, Magic Man, maybe a little bit more height and hair would make you seem like a real Merlin, you son of a... So we get that. And then what do I do in return to that is I look over and I do one of these. And then I go on my way. I ignore them. And somebody has to ask, what was that or what's going on? By getting them to ask, it's a very different kind of tone, okay? They've invested, they've asked. So then I turn and I say, well, that's actually an ancient Egyptian curse. It means may the hairs surrounding your anus become mysteriously woven together. And we're out. And that works very, very well in a few ways. And if it doesn't, I do sponges.
Sponges for the win.
Sponges for the win, baby.
Who doesn't love a good sponge trick?
Well, anybody after COVID hates a good sponge trip. They're going to be called the Red Balls of Death.
Oh, God.
And I plan to feature them in a new show I have called Magician in a Box. I basically show up at the gig in a plastic sealed box. Someone has to pull me around while I do split fans. And as the air runs out in the box and I start to gasp for air, only then do people start to applaud louder and louder.
How
Magic
are you
in the modern era.
How are you feeling about? I mean, obviously, the world is what it is right now, but with magic in general, after all this stuff is kind of over, I use the word over loosely. Mm-hmm. How do you feel
Especially because the word over is so much like the word COVID.
Yeah.
It's very close onomatopoeia. But you were asking, what's your view? Well, what do you think?
I mean, I think we need to be socially aware, obviously, of what's going on. But I'm not so much a performer these days. I'm more behind the scenes. And I know that I've had some friends that have started performing again, and they said that they've been shaky up front because it's been a hot minute, and they felt a little nervous. As you said about the Zoom shows you were doing, I guess, minimalism, I think will have a big boom, I feel like, because it's more interactive, less touchy-feely. But I guess from my perspective, it's not so much the magicians too, but how do you think audiences are going to feel about live entertainment when it comes to the things that we do? Do you think there's going to be a barrier now, or is it going to be?
I think like many entertainers and strong communicators, first and foremost, we need to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
We need to get ahead of the narrative. So when somebody walks into a space, whether it's a web show, an online show, or whether I'm doing a garden show or a front lawn thing as people start to loosen up in some regards, or a theater show where maybe they'll have separate seating. I know movie theater is going to be opening up again soon here. People will be trying things. We need to get ahead of the narrative. So the first thing will be to reassure people, whether it's agents or actual audience members. You'll need to somehow, with some wit, and you need to make sure everyone understands that it's on your mind, that you got it. We all had that. Let's put it behind us and head forward. I've been thinking about this sort of stuff. Second, I do think less tactile magic, maybe a little less hands-on makes sense heading into this as well. It's spooky, though. I've found, though, my online stuff, my YouTube stuff is doing as well or better because I think people want magic. They want, all the usual reasons. They're not negative. The escape of magic, the charm of magic. I think magic I actually think there's a bigger risk of magic than COVID because I think COVID will come and go and there'll be a vaccine and we'll get past it. Yep. But the notion of, and I'm not going to go on about this, as he did exactly that. To make a short story long, the death of mystery, the magician's relationship to the secret in a Google world. Slowly but surely, our notion of mystery and secrecy and all that stuff is very different than 50 years ago, 30 years ago, because we now know everything. Yeah. Of course, we don't. But so the magician, he or she adapting to that new role because it never really was about the secrets anyways. It's about the personality and what you do with them. However, making that transition as a community, as an archetype, the magician, and finding a relevance and still being able to appeal to people's imagination in a Google age, I think is a long-term, a bigger struggle than COVID.
Yeah, I mean, bang on, obviously.
That's the name of one of my favorite videos.
Bang on. Really now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. It's like I'm Boris Pocus over here, and I know something.
You do know something, my friend.
We had some love for some of your tricks, too. Obviously, we talked about airtight. Paperclipped. How can we talk to Jay Sankey and not mention paperclipped at least once? Like, that's a freaking classic. I mean, and people are out there appreciating the love for the new updates that you've been presenting for some of your classic stuff, too, like paperclipped. Obviously, you've had some new work on that recently. Airtight, I think you had some new work on airtight as well. Which people
because that balloon used to, I mean, it's not that new, but that balloon used to break on me. I mean, I loved that trick and I did it the classic way for many, many years, but then I got to a point I said, look, there's got to be some way to basically have the same effect. And so I've been I've got a couple of new things coming out very soon. To have such a library like I do now, it's exciting because I can go back and blow the dust off and find some improvements and fresh twists on older things, but I don't create like I used to. for many years I pushed my brain was just on the magic. But now I'm sort of working on different things. I'm about to release a book called The Community of Life. And again, if you're just joining us now, check out my Sankey Says the Sankey Says. There's stuff on Sankey Says, again, for magicians, performers, salespeople, but also some sort of new age stuff too. I have a lot of passion for, I'm actually thinking about a new book called Here Now Magic. And it's just because I'm fascinated with what makes a magic experience magic. What is it about? So having had cards selected and marked coins appear in weird places for decades, my thinking and appreciation of the larger themes continues to I'm really interested. One day I'd love to be able to give people the experience of magic, but in a way that isn't like a magic trick. There's nothing picked. There's nothing signed. It's something else. I mean, brilliant actors, I think, are amazing because a brilliant actor, I've seen it in movies. Someone who's one person one moment and then the next is you get a sense this is a different person. That's magic for sure, and it doesn't require the claptrap of most magic tricks. So I'm very interested in all this kind of thing, while at the same time continuing to enjoy. Just coming up, I got a couple of. I came up with I'm going to release some stuff on YouTube very soon that I was really happy to come up with some variations and some stuff that's sort of COVID oriented and different things. I've been doing a bit of that too.
Chris Krams wants to say that you contacted him about Airtight when he posted a question, and it helped him a lot, so thank you for that.
Oh, of course. You're so welcome. I really do appreciate my fans. I mean, the fact that you have a world exploding with people trying to get your attention, and a whole bunch of people all over the world are still very interested in what I have to say or some trick I have, I do not take it for granted ever. I really try my best to show my fans. I appreciate you. I really do.
While you were chatting, I put a question in the chat too about, what are some of people's favorite tricks of yours? I'm going to ramble off a few. Stirring Silver is one that I personally love too. Stirring Silver is fantastic. Michael Mayo. Danny Leclerc says nailed. Nailed is a fan.
Thanks.
Ryan Schlutz, my good buddy Ryan, says snow globe effect. I forget what it's called.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's right. The snow globe effect. What the hell was it? Yeah. Snowstorm. Snowstorm. I had an older version and a newer version of that. That's cool. Thanks.
That's a fun one. Also, for me, one of the ones I used to use all the damn time in restaurant work, thank you, is One Car Garage.
One Car Garage. I've got some new work on that the gimmick is a lot more dependable and smoother and this and that. I have no plans to release it this month or this year or anything, but yeah, One Car Garage I used to do a lot too.
Yeah, dude, I was like, when I was younger and I had my first tricks released through Elmwood Magic, I was like, oh my God, I'm releasing something through the same company Jay Sankey is. This is like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, Paul Richards at Elmwood Magic, one of the coolest. Yeah. So much style. It's an old phrase. Class act, lovely soul, gentle guy. Really, really admire him.
Well said. I agree 100%, obviously. As we mentioned earlier, Back in Time, a Sankey classic. We got Kyle McIntosh. Daniel Ricks says Devil's Tale. He's a fan of Devil's Tale.
Beautiful.
Chris Fleming, another favorite of mine. He's a big fan of In a Flash. I mean, come on, that's a fantastic trick.
It is. I mean, it's a little bit of it's got a little Vegas feel to it for sure. It's not for everybody, but I've done it a million times. It's one of those tricks for sure that you can relax within a flash and you go into it and you go, okay, so this is because it really plays to the imagination. People's imagination can do more for your work than you ever could. It's so important when performing a trick to leave room for people to make of it what they will, because you never really know the effect it has on people. Even though people who market stuff like me, we work hard on trying to describe the effect and give you an idea of what it is. It's really important, I think, to humbly present and serve and share it, and not be too clear about what exactly they're going to see in the trick.
Yep. Well said. I mean, that trick, right, it crushes people, dude. Another bit of love here for the Wichita Slip. That's another.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not a trick, but a great move. Great move. Yeah.
Sure. I do a 3-card selection with that real simply. That works really well. But it's a cool move. Thank you.
I want to get to one last question. This one comes from YouTube. Carbon. X1209 says, my hands are shivering when I do magic. Can you give me some advice? He said that a few times. I didn't want you to think I was ignoring you, buddy. It's a good question. So can you give some tips on being nervous when you're performing for the people?
Yeah, I think last year it doesn't happen to me much anymore, but it still happens. especially, it's great going into a big meeting and I was doing walk around the night before. That's great because it's all up here, all of it for sure. It's nice when you've done some gigs recently before a big meeting, but I went to a meeting, sort of a pitch meeting, maybe a year and a half ago. And I remember that first trick. At the boardroom, and there's 15 people around, and you're, hey, how, this first thing, and you go into your butterfly or whatever, you're doing your first thing, and oh no, yeah, that's right, because it wasn't that, it was this moment. I'm going into the butterfly, the two thing, and I'm just about to turn this over, and I see my hand shake, and I hate to see it shake because A, I have to face that I'm nervous. B, they get to see my uncertainty. And so now we're in the opposite of a positive dynamic. We're now in this – because, when I look up and I see people who are rooting for me, it's lovely to see it in your eyes, ma'am. I appreciate that you're feeling a little nervous for me for a second. But I hope to hell to never see that look again. So it's really with mixed feelings. So I feel you on the shaky hands thing. And I got good news and bad news for you. First, there's only one way to get over it. Only one. And that's to perform. It's the only way. But here's the good news. So the bad news is only one way. The good news is you can't be denied. If you just keep doing it, I promise you, there's nothing random. It's not a maybe. The shakes will leave you. But you have to keep doing it.
True that. There is no simple answer to that one, except to just do it. Just friggin' do it over and over and over and over again.
Absolutely truth. I call that a deck drop.
Yes. I'm gonna start using that idea instead of the mic drop, the deck drop.
Oh, I bet you will. I bet a whole bunch of you bastards gonna steal all my good shit. Ooh, stuff. Sorry, Mark. Sorry, Mark.
More favorites, Reconstruction. David Smock says over on YouTube.
Oh, David Smock, I know you, buddy. Long-time fan. You've been a fan of mine a long time. I appreciate that, David. Thanks, man.
David Brock's a big fan of Public Transit, which is a great piece. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great piece. All right. Any last words here from Jay Sankey as I am a few minutes here over what I promised you here. Any last thoughts about the magic? Any things for people to look out for? I know you teased a couple things as we were going along here. But,
No, I've mentioned a couple of times. Just check out my Sankey Says Instagram account for sure. I'm on YouTube at the Sankey Magic account every week. Something's going on there, some video, giving away contests, that sort of thing. And the last thing I'd say, though, is that magicians, if you're like me, we're very sensitive people. We're sensitive. And we work hard on our magic. And we're amazing entertainers. I mean, no other entertainers will try to entertain people in the most ridiculous situations that we do. And they're burning us. And they want to try to catch us while we try to entertain them. And no one has to deal with that. So if you're a magician, respect. You should be proud. It's not an easy gig to do for sure. And the only thing I'd say is protect your love of magic. Be careful who you share your stuff with. Don't get caught up in share. I mean, if your parents aren't into it, fine. If your friends, people at school, literally to hell with them. Just find a nurturing, positive place to share your magic. I think it's really important.
Yeah. I'm all about keeping the magic alive, dude. Keeping the magic alive and remembering why you did it in the first place. That's something else to think about.
That's a great thought. I know that beginners are so often in touch with the passion, and then as an intermediate, you start learning all this stuff. You get caught up in the sleights and all that, which is cool. I'm not dissing it. I spent many years there. I love it. I still love learning a new sleight. Then if you're lucky enough, though, and you spend enough time in it, like I have in Luke, you get on the other side, you kind of rediscover, oh, yeah. And boy, it's exciting when that happens.
Yes, sir. And I keep things like this around to remind me, this is When Creators Collide, your early works here, of the history as well and the people that have come before us. And I will say this out loud, Jay Sankey is a giant in the industry that, just like the ones that have come before us, we all stand on the shoulders of the giants. And so Sankey is definitely someone that will go down in the books as a legend. And we just had one here on the show, my friends. So Jay Sankey, thank you for spending some time with us here. This has been a pleasure, and I look forward to when our paths cross again, my friend.
Me too, and you do not disappoint. You're once again just the gracious son of a gun that you are. Thank you so much for having me on here. I know a whole bunch of people would love to spend time with you chatting. I really appreciate you taking the time today, and a big fan to anybody who turned in and turned up or whatever to watch us do our silly bits of biz. I really appreciate it. So a big thanks to all of you, and thanks so much, Luke. Thank you, man.
Sounds good. All right. Well, for me and Jay Sankey both, we're going to let you roll on out. So stay safe, guys. Be good. Take care of yourself and each other. Catch you next time.